Hi. Hey.
It didn't sound like a chipmunk. You did it.
Whoops.
That was too funny there, Tom. Or Paul. That was too funny.
Up there.
Oh, you bastard. Kick me out. Of course, it doesn't have livery selected. That is... An error occurred. This is... In rFactor.
Sorry, James.
It's okay.
Sequential. Nope. Go.
Thanks, Mac.
How's it going, guys?
He's here. I thought you were bleeding your ass out or something.
I got that fixed. I was able to get back in time. I literally just got back.
Nice.
So, they got me tuned up.
Right on.
It's not painful. It was pretty painful, but we got it figured out. Got my girlfriend out from the bed sheets because they're covered in a little bit of blood, but it's okay.
Yeah. Well,
As long as you got good drugs.
Yep. Oh, the drugs I got are great. So, they weren't too shy on what they gave me.
What'd you have going on?
I had to go get hip surgery again. So,
Oh crap!
I went back under the knife, and they had to fix my femoral head, which basically is like your hip joint that goes into the socket. So I had to go under the knife, and they had to dislocate my hip, put a screw through the femoral head to get it back together and stable, and then relocate it.
Oh me!
Yeah.
We can rebuild him.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like a bionic
Sounds like a
man
side
right now.
work.
Yeah.
$1 million man.
So,
Wow. Yeah. Hope it all works out well for you this time.
yeah, I know. So that's what they said. Well, the bad news is that so they did this, and they're hoping that this will stick. But because they had to go back in, they're scared that the blood flow may not take. And if the blood flow doesn't take, then I have to go in again and get another surgery, so that way I can get blood flow to my leg.
small things.
Well, let's hope that's not the case.
Yeah.
You're too young for all that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, that's pretty severe.
That's what they're trying not to do. Is because I don't want to have to get a hip replacement like at 20 years old.
No. Probably want to avoid that.
Yeah.
You're barely a scratch. So, are you looking at doing commentary then?
I thought about trying to possibly. I don't know yet if I should because I'm not going to lie, I've never done commentary before. So I'm almost thinking, are the other guys doing the commentary for the 98 series on Saturday?
For James, whatever,
Yeah.
Parfit Broadcasting, yes.
I wanted to see if I could hop in with them, and then that way I could kind of get an understanding of how stuff goes and kind of learn a little bit before I just go and blabber for an hour.
Oh, you fine. Hell,
Sorry,
Josh
Norm.
hopped
Thought
there.
I'd stay offline, and so did you, I guess.
I followed you right off.
Yeah, I'll just you're on a hot lap behind me. I'll just stay out of your way since I screwed up.
What did you say it was?
George might be in tonight,
Oh, really?
and he might be doing a commentary with you. I know he's talking about that.
If George goes in, I'll go. We can do some commentary.
Commentary on this kind of thing, that'd be awesome.
Man, it'd be hard to
Right.
keep up with it.
Cameras would be auto, but just because George doesn't know what he's doing, and I don't have it set up for remote login. So. But I mean, you wouldn't have to worry about anything other than having your having this like live racers or something up, so that way you can
Yeah.
tabs on everyone.
Well, that's kind of what I was wondering. Would I just need to spectate the server and then just look at live racers and everything?
Yeah. So what I'd do is I'd hook you up with the broadcaster booth. No, locking the inside. No, Norman. And it would just do your own private live stream there, which is basically just what's happening on the main live stream, is that there's no delay.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just watch that, and then like in another tab or window or something, like if you got multiple monitors or however you want to do it.
Just have live racers on.
Yep. Or you can have it on your phone or tablet.
I can put it on just put it on my monitor.
This puppy loves locking up there. That's. Oh yeah. It's to be touchy.
How much time till queue?
About that. Clock says an hour and 35 minutes.
Oh, I thought it started at 8. Oh, it probably does.
8 your time.
I messed up the math.
I think it's like in another half an hour or something. I don't have a clock near me.
Yeah, quali is in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, give George a ping and see if he's going to be around tonight or not, and let him know that you might think about it. You know, I think for the Saturday thing, they wouldn't mind having you there. Like they can do a lot of the color commentary and all that crap, and since you know the cars and drivers so well, you'd be really great for like a lot of technical and deeper insight.
It'd be kind of like
Kind of like what they were trying to do with Scotty McLaughlin at Adelaide for the last rounds of super cars.
Did he have a hip problem too?
No, he had a Penske problem taking him out of his country problem.
Damn felonies will get you every time.
I mean, it is penal colony.
He said penal.
Let's try.
Can I get a setup for the Supra?
As soon as I find one.
Yeah, somebody send me one for the Acura.
Anyone got anything for the fair lady?
Well, I was running it until I decided I wanted to be able to see the road.
That's overrated.
Up.
Man, every time I got a killer lap going, I get a tire about 2 inches off. Lap don't count. Lap don't count.
I like it when it says this lap and the next doesn't count. You Nazi.
Oh, that's when you really fucking cut.
Yeah. Some never forgive shit right there. Make sure you put your rain tires on. Oh, get out of here.
I cannot get this track down.
It's fun, isn't it?
What?
I
Why
just
is this the only
recently
track in
raced
iRacing
here
that
in
anyone drives?
Radicals.
What was that?
I just recently raced here in Radicals.
Ah. There's a concept. So it is, let's see, 20 minutes to the race brief, thereabouts, and then 25 to the qualification? Or quality. Or qualifying, as George would like to say.
Does anybody have a setup for the Supra that I can try out?
I'll send you mine. I'm slow.
Well, I'm in 17th, so probably.
I'm one spot faster than you.
Well, hey, that's better than behind.
Pardon me.
What the hell? Crashed the desktop. I have to come back in. I crashed the desktop when I went to send the ESL.
I saw that. Hey, Matthew.
Sir?
It is. My car says Wolf Racing Team.
Your car says Wolf Racing Team?
Yeah. I am confused as to why that is the case.
Do you not wish to be Wolf Racing Team?
Well, it's supposed to be Image Girl Racing Team.
That
The car
was
livery is
probably
correct.
the team name on the VA file.
Yeah. So okay. So just tell Don, email to Don that he needs to change it to the correct name, and he will do so.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
There is
easy
a Wolf Racing out there somewhere. I know that.
Yeah, in 8th right now.
Oh, there's Colin. Colin is Wolf Racing. That might have been. Is that me? Maybe I did that.
Yama.
Thanks for the setup, Norm. I'll give that a try.
Yeah, for some reason it was wrong on the vehicle file because I made you Wolf Racing in the spotter's guide as well. So for now you're Wolf Racing.
Hey, you didn't even put me in the spotter's guide.
Well, that's because
I ought
your
to
skin
boycott this.
your skin hadn't been spitted in time, had it?
Skinhead.
Had your skin been put in time? Your livery?
I'm
Did your
just
livery get put on?
driving a default.
Well, there you go. So
Gary,
no,
you
you're not in the
still
spotter's
need a setup?
guide.
Isn't that right?
Okay, that gives me an excuse to drive everybody else's cars.
Driving better than I can mine. Go for it.
Ross, a little too heavy on the foot there.
Yeah, I'm still trying to work out something that is somewhat resembling a setup.
Norm, the setup works great. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's not good as it could be, but it works.
But you can't pass Norm in it. You gotta stay behind him.
Yeah, otherwise I'll get another George situation. He gets so mad because I've beaten him on all of his setups that he's given me so far.
That's just fun.
It is.
I love George, but one of my favorite
I
pastimes.
gave it to Ross too. I guess he's not paying attention.
Oh, I didn't realize it was an all-out share day. I'll pay attention.
I love George, but one of my favorite pastimes is to just say something and make him mad.
It is a lot of fun.
I wish this was my race setup, Johnny, but it's my qualifying.
I'm sorry, Jerry. What was that?
No, it's Paul. I was lamenting the fact that I was able to stay ahead of you, but I'm using my qualifying setup.
Hey guys, I have my setup. If you guys, if anybody wants to use it, I'm not the best at it, but I do okay.
It's appreciated. Test and power seem to be slightly out of where I would like them.
Just give me a minute to change all my settings. No, I'm just kidding.
The best one is to give somebody a setup with like 1 liter of fuel.
Ready to go racing.
You gotta break through the
kind of like that. There it is. That can go. Oh. That's the one that's backwards. Where? The higher the coast, the more oversteer you get, correct? Right. Anybody? Bueller?
Opposite. 100% coast is octave. It's the power, that's backwards. So 0 power,
Okay.
no gear, 100 power.
Yeah. It hardly moves. Hardly goes.
Get a George car.
Yeah. Oh, that is the perfect car. I tell you what, Alec, when we go to do the driver's brief, if George is in here, I'll fire up the thing, and well, he can pull you into the commentator's booth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can just hop in and I'll give it a shot. Just try and do a little bit of commentary.
Yeah, that'll be great.
What, on your own?
Yeah, if I got to, if he's not here. Might as well.
Okay.
If
It'll
not,
be
I'm...
so much more fun to listen to you and George together.
Yeah.
Oh, you want him live and while we're racing?
Sure, why not?
So we can hear him?
I don't know if you'd want that.
There are some points to track that, yes, I could afford to do that, and other points to track that, oh, I don't think that'd be a good idea.
You would listen to George be screaming the whole time.
Can you imagine commentators broadcasted to all the drivers in real life, and then they could talk back?
That'd be kind of funny.
Oh my god, that would be perfect.
Connor Daly.
Like, hey, what'd you say about me? That'd be wonderful.
Crap, I got a lot of Jason.
It's like I miss the old NASCAR days when drivers would set their radios to each other so they could talk to each other during like the 500 and stuff.
When did they cut that off?
I can't remember.
Tandem drafting.
Several years ago. Yeah, right.
Probably when they started jumping into cars and beating each other.
Tandem drafting. That's when they killed it.
Well, that's what. Well,
Yep, that's right.
they've been beating each other up since the beginning. I remember Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Only 5 second pace. That's great. What the hell is Bradley? What has Norm done? It's not a whole lot of starting fuel. Oh, those won't last.
No, that's a figuring out my gas mileage fuel.
Damn! No wonder you
put
can
your own in.
I can see why you can take that corner flat out. It's not a bad idea. That's good. Oops. We'll do that.
So you take my setup and turn it into your own, then say it drives like shit. So that's how it works.
I mean, that's the direction we're going right now.
Yeah, I know. This is a 1 hour race, correct?
Yes, sir.
Why don't we not? No.
And 4 minutes to driver's brief, everybody.
Sorry, Paul, I was having issues.
Whoops.
just went down to start finish straight, smoking like a smoker.
Looking like a smoker.
Probably got it all taped up for qualifying.
Smoking like a smoker, I like that.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me.
Yes, we're waiting. Norm?
He reminds you of...
He got lost in memories.
He's
He's going to get the spliff.
Yeah, that could be it.
oh, now that gear's too high.
Okay, 1 minute, everybody.
Can I get a mic check, guys? How does this sound?
Sounds great.
You're kind of
Maybe quiet.
kind of
but-
look quiet.
Quiet?
Okay, guys, driver brief. Everyone to the pit, please. Directly. I know I have a brief somewhere. There it is. Right. And I know Gilles is going to escape to the pit. Aren't you, Gilles?
Real quick.
Come
is
on,
this better?
Giles.
Is this better?
Finishing Hobbs.
What?
I was just disqualified.
Yes, you were, because you were driving when I said go to the pit. Okay, guys. So we got 5 minutes to go through this.
I wasn't hearing anything. Suddenly, all of you became all at once. I have a problem with my Discord.
That's okay. I put it in the chat too.
Never saw that.
I got that. Okay, guys. So we're on to the first race of what is going to be an 8-race season with the SGT 500. So it's great to have you all out. Thank you very much for coming. It's nice to see a good crowd. Always makes for a lot of fun racing. 23 people. Don't forget, next week is the third round of the VMSC at Sebring, the track that everyone loves to hate and hates to love. So looking forward to being out there. And don't forget, if you haven't done so already, go and check the NARS numbers for you to either confirm that you have a permit number or that you don't want your permit number anymore, and also what number, if you aren't going for permit, you want for this series. And we'll just move that along. Okay, so today we've got a 60-minute race plus 1 lap for formation, 2 times fuel, and don't forget that you will be required to stop to take on fuel. Tires are at your discretion, and we'll have 20 minutes for qualifying. And as always, just if you come back into the pit, make sure that you respect the hot lap coming through as you exit the next time around. I think I've got everybody on Discord chat. I've got a huge crowd here today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is 24, 25. So yeah, I think I've got everyone on voice chat. That's great. So practice and warm up, of course, everyone can talk, but during the qualifying and the race itself, please put your toggle to mute for push to talk, or keep your volume high, volume recognition high enough that you're not making all sorts of random noises during the race. If there's a safety issue, certainly sing out, but otherwise no talking during the race or queue, please. No one's got any driver's aid because they're not allowed on the server. And starting procedure is pretty straightforward. It's going to be a pace lap, so it will be a standing start When you get the green, wait for the cars ahead of you to roll off. The leader will take us around one lap. We will be in double file. And take your time. You've got 3 minutes to do the pace lap to get us around to the start finish. And we will no weaving, no acceleration, no hard braking. You can warm up your brakes by dragging your brakes, but otherwise you want to stay approximately a car length behind the car in front and even with the car beside you throughout the pace lap. A little jockeying around for some of the tight corners, but otherwise, once we come back on the start finish straight, everyone should be pretty close to getting back to the right position. Maintain that position and pace until we come to the normal start finish line, which is a fair bit down the road. And as you cross the start finish line, you can start racing at that time. So it's pair by pair, not a general free for all when the leader hits the start finish. There is an orange zone that's going to be in effect, and it's from the start until the exit of T4, which is that uphill right-hander. Remember, the cars are a little heavy, have cold tires. Passing is permitted. You are racing in the orange zone, but as always, if you cause an incident in the orange zone, you will be subject to heavier penalties than for the rest of the race. I think I talked about the pit and fuel. So remember the pit speed limiter, and there's no ghosting. Make sure that you stay right and you've got your eyes open on the merge as you're coming out, because it's a short run to T1. Make sure you're staying on the right and the hot lap folks coming through as people are exiting. Just be aware of what's going on in front of you. Lots of places here to go off track. Remember, just to keep your eye open for rejoins. Be aware of the traffic around as you come back on. Make a safe rejoin. You may have to wait for traffic to pass, but you have to wait for traffic to pass. We don't have any penalties for this race. Blue flag as always. You don't have to get out of the way if you're being blue flagged, but don't compete with or obstruct the lapping car. So just keep a regular pace. Watch what's going on around you. If the car that is lapping you comes through and gets to side by side as you're coming up to the next corner, you do have to cede that corner for him or her, because if you try and go through it side by side, you're now competing with them, and that's not allowed. The lapping car has the responsibility for making a clean pass and paying attention to what the car ahead of it is doing, and both sides have the responsibility for good racing behavior. So just be patient. There's an hour of the race here. There's some places where it's great to pass and other places where it's not so great, as for every track. Just remember the golden rule of racing. If you're racing for position and you've caused the other driver a problem, give them back that position. So pull over where it's safe, let them get by you again, and get on again. If you feel you've been hard done by, everyone I think is familiar with the incident review request process. Just check the general competition rules about how to do that. I think everyone's clear that if you pull the escape cable, if you hit escape, the race is over. So if you think you have problems but can come back in, either disconnect your cable or hit Control-Alt-Delete to crash the sim and then rejoin. See what rF2 gives you for a restart. If there's any DQs or penalties during the practice, during the qualification, I can clear them up during the warm-up. Otherwise, anything in race, you have to serve. Track is a bit touchy in some places on the track cuts, so just be aware of that. We will do a pit box check, so when we hit that point and we're in the warm-up, just hit drive, ask for the pit request, and drive to your box, and we'll just see if we're overlapped. Any questions? Great. Okay, well, I will now move the session forward, and we'll get on with things. So I'm almost at the 5-minute mark, guys. I'm getting there.
Practice makes perfect.
I've only had a couple years.
Practice? We talking about practice?
Need to up that tempo.
All right, time to learn the car here.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I can hear you guys now.
Good.
$5 for Rex Kirby.
Okay, guys, have a good one out there. Remember, no talking during queue.
And we're live at NARS Thursday Night Racing Series.
Let's go.
Alec King taking away as the head broadcaster for tonight.
Well,
He's shortly joined by George and
yep.
Judas.
Hopefully we'll be joined by George. But hi everybody, I'm Alec King. I've raced with this series for a couple rounds and had some good times with everybody. Sadly had some stuff go on in real life, so I will not be racing. So I figured tonight we would join it with some commentary. We normally don't have this for our Thursday series here at CMS, but figured might as well tonight because don't really have much else. So I'd like to bring you guys this great race we have. This is a new series that we have just started for our NARS North American Racing Series with the Super GT500s, also known as JGTC, but it's Japan's big touring car series. It's been around for a very long time. These cars are not the newest of the cars that run in the series, but these ran about 05, 06, and 07. Still some really cool ones. We've got 3 manufacturers in here tonight, and all 3 are competing. Everyone, there's a good selection of cars throughout the grid. So yeah, let's just get right into it.
While you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and jump on in and get some laps in myself.
All right, where do I need to watch this at?
Oh! One moment, please. That's about it.
I have a stream account muted. Okay, so just watch this from right here, basically.
That's all you need.
Sounds good. See how this goes.
Sure, that's all good. Okay. Okay, now, like I said, I'm going to leave you, but I'll be back. Maybe sooner than later if things don't go according to plan.
All right, sounds good. Good luck.
And to you. Catch you later.
Yep, sounds good. Have a good race. Everyone, we are now just starting to get through the quality. So far, we have Dan Kirby. Oh, actually, I haven't got a lap time set up. Alrighty. 15 minutes left in qualifying. Been pretty good so far. Haven't seen any incidents. So far we have Johnny Gutierrez on P1 in the Honda NSX. NSX has been a really strong choice of a lot of guys for this series. It's a very good and balanced car. I was able to do some testing with all three of these cars and found that the Honda is the best overall all around with power and steering. The Supra is a little bit more power. A lot of people like it just because it does seem to have a better engine, but it can feel a little heavy. And then the Nissan and the little Z, that's the more nimble one. Less power, but more nimble. So they all have their own unique characteristics, which is great for a series like this. So everyone is going to has done their testing and figured out which car best suits them. But the main picks seem to have been the NSX and the Supra. I don't know the exact number for how many for each, but it seems to be fairly close. We've got a good group tonight. So far, we have our top 5 is Johnny Gutierrez, John Neal, John May, Brian Hall, and Norm Graff. So a lot of these guys, most of our front runners in this series and in our CMS community. So we run a lot of good series and a lot of different events, and across all of those events, these guys tend to be up front in most of those series. But there we go, Dan Kirby to P1. Kirby is our alien in our community. He is always, you can count on him to be the fastest guy. Anything he drives, Dan is fast in. Have always been great. He's one of those drivers you can really learn from, just because he's so skilled behind the wheel and just in all forms of cars, and racing is really unique to see how he can handle it. About 10 minutes or so left in qualifying. Everyone's seems to be pretty much getting down some pretty solid laps. Little bit of a expanded field on times, but everyone seems to be really close. All the way from Kirby and Johnny are just kind of in the league of their own right now. So hopefully we can see them battle it out for the lead. But I think the midfield throughout this series is going to be really, really close. A lot of guys are all within a second or so of each other, and so that makes a lot of the racing really fun and interesting. That's always really cool to watch. Oh, looks like we have a spin. But our times right now are really close. Dan Kirby right now is in the lead with a 1:18.1, and Johnny Gutierrez is in second with a 1:19.0. So I think a lot of these guys will really close throughout tonight. We have a lot of guys in the 20s and 21s. Our first 120 was done by John Yuan, and then our last guy in the 21s is JT with a 21.9. So a lot of guys within about a second or so of each other. That midfield battle is going to be very close tonight. And in these cars, it can be tricky. You know, there is no traction control, no ABS. It's all feel and throttle control. Really a raw driving car. So there's not many aids to help you out and get you out of trouble. So you have to be very gentle and precise. That's the main thing when driving these. So I think it'll be good. There'll definitely be some good battles, and hopefully not many people get caught out with the silly mistakes, because it's very, very easy to make a mistake in this car. So even though it does have a lot of downforce and a big tire with a lot of grip, it just has a lot of power. So it's really easy to find the limit on the power that you have and to overuse it. Oh, you had an incident coming out of the pits there. And with this track being so more of a shorter track, you know, only a minute 20 lap time, the guys are going to be very, very close to each other. I think that's one thing that'll definitely come into play later in the race, is that it'll be hard for people to get space and to space out. With the field that we have tonight, with over 24 cars, is really something special. So it's a great turnout for our Thursday series. So just have to see how it all plays out. The midfield definitely will be an intense battle. I think anybody from 3rd all the way down to 17th can finish in a podium position. So they're that close and that close together. They're that close together. So just have to see who can have a good race, who can stay safe, and see how it all will play out. Only about 3 minutes left here in quali. Seems to everybody has gotten in their times. A couple guys still out there trying to get in those final laps and pick up those final positions, but we'll have to see when it comes race time how everyone goes. It's been very close so far. Like I've said, this qualifying field looks great. I love seeing how competitive these cars are, all three across 3 different platforms. You'd almost would think this was the spec series with how close everybody is, so really great to see. I believe this series will be a very successful one that we have on NARS Thursdays. So we'll just have to see how everything plays out. And the biggest thing that I have that I'd like to see is how will these guys adapt? How will the stints come along throughout? Because none of us know. This is the first time that a lot of these guys have driven the cars we have today. So I think the drivers will have their hands full with everything going on and trying to figure out when is the right time to pit. How is it going to play out? And that all kind of comes into play and can be kind of difficult. So it's tricky, but with this, you kind of learn on the fly and see how it goes. Now we seem to have everybody back in their pit box. Seems that all the drivers have gotten their laps in. So we'll this will be an interesting race for tonight. So I hope you guys are all excited. I know I am. I know all of the drivers and everybody else is. So I think this will be really something special. Looks like we're getting a pit box checks right now, and then we'll have a slight warm up just for everyone to get back on full fuel. See how the car feels, get on their race setups. There's a lot of big difference between a race and a quali setup, especially in sim racing. There's a lot of things you can do to make the car great for a lap, but would be terrible for a stint. So to get back in the car with full fuel, a lot of weight, and just see how it handles, it'll be really good. So these guys definitely need it with this being such a new series. Now that quali is over, we can go ahead and take a look at our times. Dan Kirby down to a 1:17.9. That is just incredible. No surprise from Dan. He is awesome and just really knows how to wheel one of these things around. Knows any car. He's always the fastest at whatever you do. So I always, big guy a lot of people look up to and try to chase and follow. But I think with everything that's has happened and with how everybody has set up the cars, I think though everyone will be very competitive with throughout this whole race. It's something that can be very difficult to find out, is to have pace over a whole race distance. So I'm excited to see how it all plays out.
Attention grid, will all non-essential personnel leave the grid now?
And here we go on the grid with warm-up over. We are now getting into the race. Drivers are going to do their formation lap, double file, and I'm very excited to see how tonight will play out. It's been a very hyped up series. CMS and the guys in the group, in the community, did a poll to vote for a series, and this is what got voted highest. So very, very cool to see these cars on track. I think this whole series in this category of cars doesn't really get much love anymore. It's a great series that everybody knows. If you've played Gran Turismo, you have seen these cars before, I can guarantee it. So just to have these around and to see all these cool liveries that everyone has done too. I like that the people that have made their own liveries have done something that's kind of retro and throwback to that area of time and everything. So it's pretty cool to see the variety of everything and all the different colors that you can see on the track. So as we start to slowly make our way through the lap, everyone will just be staying steady, no swerving, no gassing and stopping. They'll probably drag in a little bit of brake just to try and build a little bit of temperature, but just for everybody's safety, we just try to keep it safe so that way we don't have anyone hitting anybody on a formation lap. But a strong field of cars tonight, 24 cars. I think we're going to see a lot of action, a lot of fights on the Okayama circuit. So this is going to be interesting, and I think we all can enjoy it, and this will be something fun. So, our top five, we can go ahead and start with Dan Kirby and Johnny Gutierrez, two of our top guys. I believe that they'll have a close race throughout, and hopefully we can see some good battles. Then John Yuan, Brian Hall, and Norm Graff. Like I've said before, all guys who have competed in our series and always tend to run up front. So to see them, I think the top five will be close. And then our midfield tonight is going to be something crazy, I think. Everyone with being so close in quality and just how equal all of these cars can be, it'll be great. So it seems to be the NSXs they've locked out the front row, but as we round the final corners and get towards the front stretch, we'll be ready to go green and see what we've all been waiting for, the GT 500s. They slow it up to the line, everyone's staying on pace, nice and tidy. The slow creep to the line that builds all of the anticipation. As they cross the line, we go green. Dan Kirby with a great start, and Johnny Gutierrez drops back into P2. Oh, John comes around the outside and keeps P3 with Brian Hall in fourth. Good fight. Seems to be clean off the start so far. No incidents. That's always great to see. Let's see if we can just lock it in for the rest of the race and see what all can come with it. Oh, Brian's got a dive bomb from Norm behind him. Norm is the top Nissan. Most of everyone, like I said earlier, was running the NSX and the Supra. So to see one of the Fairlady Z's up front is really cool. So that car doesn't get a lot of love just because of it being underpowered, but to see Norm in it and running it up front is always great to see. to make it through lap 1. Hopefully we don't jinx it, but with no incidents so far. Dan Kirby already out to it, and it's pretty established lead. Already a couple tenths ahead and slowly starting to pull away. So he's kind of the guy, you know. All people do is they just try to chase him. With about a 1.5 second lead so far on Johnny, he's going to slowly start creeping away. But Gutierrez and Yuan are not slowly, but having a good battle so far. And look at that, our midfield all super, super close. Open, we have a spin. Gills is off in T1 along with another car, it looks like. I don't know what caused the incident, but just looked to be like a racing incident. Just maybe some slight contact into T1. Oh, it was Tom Nacella. Now they're back on track and looks to be like nothing major, so hopefully they both can regroup and come back. Oh, and we have another spin. It's Tom. Looks like, yep, there may have been some damage there. Steering wheel may be a little sideways and crooked. But as we come back up front, it's Brian Hall chasing down Norm Graff. Oh, Norm was able to make the pass on Brian. Oh, Brian's getting loose. Oh, nope, I apologize. That was Philippe. I apologize, everybody. The two NSXs of Philippe and Brian are very close. But like I said, look, we're getting into the midfield right here, and these guys are so close that anyone can finish in any position. Philippe having a good charge down the front stretch, chasing down the Supra in front of him of Norm. Philippe is slowly trying to close in. See, I love how evenly matched, I think we all can agree, how evenly matched these cars are. It doesn't matter what you're in, you can be competitive. Oh, we have a car off track right there. I could not see who that was. Hopefully we can find out here soon. Now check in with Ross Smith in P12. Good fight through the midfield. A lot of cars very close. But I think everyone right now is just taking it easy. You know, a lot of race still to be had. No one wants to make that decision right now to put them out of it. Even though this is only an hour race and is more or less a sprint, you still don't want to rush it too early in the race. The last thing you want is to kill yourself on lap 1 and not be able to finish. So I think everyone right now, they're going to settle into a groove, and I think more towards the end of the race we'll start to see everyone pick up the intensity and try to pick up the pace. And that's when things will be interesting. Everyone on old worn tires and the car is light, and just to see how everyone can manage and what they can do. Up front, though, is still Dan Kirby, but he hasn't dropped Johnny Gutierrez yet. Johnny is still holding in there, still holding close, trying not to let Kirby pull away. And that's a tough thing to do, is to not get pulled away from Kirby. He just has so much pace. So being able to still compete with him and stay close, you know, you may be able to force him into a mistake later in the race. We go on board with Norm in the Supra. Not really much going on right now. Everyone, like I said before, is just trying to settle into the race. everyone is pushing, you have to admit, at the beginning of the race, that's all it is. You have to go flat out. But everyone's, I think, just trying to be smart with these cars. They can be very tricky. You can get caught out very easily, like we've seen before. Diego Rodriguez trying to pull up to Brian Hall. But right behind him, he's got Norm Graff. So we'll have to see how this plays out. Nice three-way battle right here. All fighting for position, all pushing. And you definitely can tell in areas where they catch up through the back section. Diego definitely closes in on Brian. But then as we come down the straight, they tend to pull away a little bit. And Norm can slowly close in on the Supra, but he loses it up top through the tight section. See a battle here for 5th. Norm slowly closing in on Diego in the Supra, slowly creeping. He's trying to get the slipstream down the straight, but man, I'm not going to lie, that Z is surprising me with a straight line speed down the straight. Diego has got the thing very trimmed out, but oh, he goes a little bit wide and Norm closes up. The gap is so close now. They're within a 10th. Oh, we'll have to see what happens as we get up through the top part. Can Diego pull away in the tight, twisty corners where the Supra can slowly struggle? New best lap by Dan Kirby, by the way, 1:19.7. As we come down the straight, Norm is trying to get through there, but Diego still holds him at bay. Now here's the tight section. Here's where that Z can slowly make up some time. Not slowly, but makes up its time. It's a little bit more nimble, but Norm is doing very well to try and stay close to him. But that Z's a little bit nimbler. It's lighter, so through that tight stuff, it can handle it really good. As you see, he slowly can pull the gap away just a tiny bit. But Norm has the power in that Supra, so being able to close up is very easy for him. As we come down to the final two corners, Norm's still trying to close the gap. He gets him in this braking zone right here, but he's still just a little too far to try and make him move down the straight. He's going to have to get closer. He loses that drive in the final few corners. As we cut away to Gino. Got a running good, running strong. Now we cut back to Norm and Diego. These guys are going for it, man. I give them credit. Norm is not holding back. He's trying his hardest and trying to force back into Diego. And you can see their different line choices. Diego trying to go a little bit outside to get the drive off the corner, and Norm trying to cut the corner a little bit and have less distance to travel. And it's really cool to see how different and unique their lines are, and what lines the cars can take. You know, there is the main racing line, but each car can have its own little areas where it can make up some time by cutting the corner a little bit or going a little bit wider. See, Norm closes up a little bit, but it's still not enough. Diego has, through this section right here, Diego is really strong. He can get on the power and sort of pull away, but Norm is actually catching up here soon. It all comes off of this drive off this corner. Diego gets a little bit better drive off that third to last corner. So Norm can pull it up together. I can credit. Oh, and we have a spin right here. Ross just misses somebody. I could not see who that was. I believe that was Mark Sunlop, but sorry if I cursed that name, but I could not tell. Oh, and we have a good battle for the lead. Brian Hall makes a mistake. Diego and Norm, all three close up. We have a battle right now for 4th place. A 3-way battle for 4th place. All cars, and I love to see the variety. An NSX, a Z, and a Supra. All 1, 2, 3. As they come down the straight, let's see what happens. Diego cuts to the inside. Norm falls back just a little bit. Does he go for the send down into the inside? He tries to, but backs out. Doesn't want to force anything. Brian goes a little bit wide. Oh, this is great racing right here. This is what everyone wants to see. 3 different cars, 3 different manufacturers, 3 different drivers going for broke, man. Just going after it and seeing who can come out on top. They're going to come up on a back marker here. This may hurt Brian. Oh, Norm goes up on the inside of Diego. He gets up into 5th. Oh, and we cut away. I'm sorry, everybody. Well, I'm sorry, guys. That's what free cam can do to somebody. Oh, Francisco Costa. He was the one who crashed. He is out of the race. So sad to see our first retirement. We still have 23 cars in the grid. So hopefully he can get out of there and make something happen. Oh, the lead cuts the corner a little bit, cuts through the grass. Hey, man. Well, thank you for having your own lawnmower. Hmm. 47 minutes left in this race. We're just down. Oh, Paul Ibbotson in 17th, battling for 16th. 2 Supras. Oh, he ducks to the inside. Oh, they make a little bit of contact, but still hold it close. Oh, and Paul's in the grass. No, he tags the wall just a little bit. Doesn't seem to be too bad. Hopefully there's not a lot of damage. He can get back into it. Hopefully he can regroup and mount back his charge. He was running really good. Man, this racing tonight has just been awesome. I think we all can agree that this series is definitely one that we all can fall in love with and start to enjoy. Here we go. We have a 4-car train for... Oh, here we go. We cut back to the front. Diego Rodriguez has been passed by Norm. Brian Hall is still up front, it looks like. Still seems to be in 4th place. Oh, nope, never mind. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Our timing over there is wrong, so it's hard to keep track where everybody is. Diego is in 5th. Norm has worked his way up into 4th. Norm has been able to pass Diego and Brian. As you see Norm now slowly start to pull away. Oh, Dan Kirby off the track. Johnny Gutierrez will be able to pull in. Hopefully I did not see any contact. Looks like he may have just locked up the brakes and went off into the gravel. But as we cut back around, we have another battle right now with JT. We have 2 Nissan Ms. Moses going at it. Always fun to see. Love the livery that JT is running. One of the official ones. Looks great. JT starts to come in. He closes the gap, but doesn't get much. Gets a little closer, but he goes a little wide. Starting to slowly close the gap on Matthew. Oh, that's Matthew Overton in front of him, guys. One of the CMS regulars, one of the founders. We're having a good battle. JT is not letting him up, though. He's closing the door. He's going to go a little wide here to try and get some better drive off the corner. These last two corners are critical, and it's how good of a drive can you get off the final one. He closes in the gap. Oh, and it cuts away again. I'm sorry, everybody. Now we go back up front to the fight with Norm. He's, looks to be... Oh, that is Brian Hall in front of him, ladies and gentlemen. This is the battle for fourth right now. Norm's slowly starting to close in. As he goes to get the drive off the corner. That NSX is tough to pass. It's really balanced, but the Supra just has a little bit more engine, but I think the NSX is just a little bit more nimble through the section. But Norm closes in the gap on Brian. He goes to the inside. Let's see what happens. This onboard shot is great. Oh, the good battle. Norm gets a little bit of drive off the corner. They're so close going through this section. Norm's going to cut to the inside. Will he try and go for the move right here? No, he won't. He'll back out. Look to be a little bit of a lockup from Brian. As they come through the top here, Norm is looking for the gap. He is chasing. He is fighting. Brian goes a little wide to get the drive, and that'll help him through this next section. As they come down into the last corner, Norm can pull up a little bit, but it won't be enough. Brian still pulls away just a little bit. That last section of corners, Brian and the NSX just seems to just have it figured out and can get the drive and pull away, and Norm can get him through the top. That NSX just coming through that section just can get the drive and get the power down a lot better than the Supra. So the Supra has the power, but because it has the power, it's hard to put it to the ground and not lose some traction. So we'll follow this closely and see what happens. Norm's slowly going to close back in on him to see if he can bring back down the gap. Dan Kirby and Johnny Gutierrez coming by right there are going. Gills off in the gravel. Commentators curse, don't like to see it. But here's Johnny Gutierrez slowly closing in on Dan Kirby. This is the battle we wanted to see for the front 1 and 2. Kirby is slowly pulling away, but Johnny's not letting him get out of sight. Any mistake Kirby makes, Johnny will pounce. As we've just seen, Kirby made a little mistake, and it let Johnny catch right back up to him. Both of them in the NSX. The NSX seems to be the top car right now that everyone has been wanting to choose and enjoying. Kirby so fast through this section. He just can get the power down and get going. So, but he does have some lappers coming up ahead of him. Let's see if it'll affect him in any way. He gets by one down the straight, and that's good. He was able to get around the lapper on the straight. Now Johnny is going to have to get him under braking, which is still good, so it didn't hurt him too much. Had Johnny been stuck behind, Dan would have been able to pull away just a little bit more. Johnny closes the gap through this section. The back marker is slowly holding up Kirby. The lapper lets them by. That's very good. Now let's get back to it. Now it's mano-a-mano. They're so close to each other. Dan seems to get a little bit better drive off of the corner. Down through the final section, he just pulls away ever so slightly, goes a little wide, gets the power down, and gets off the final corner. Very good. But Johnny is still close, just out of the range for slipstream, but still closer than what he was on the last lap. He is slowly creeping him in, and this is the good thing. The best place to be in is for Johnny right now, because if he can learn from Kirby and find his lines, figure out where is he fast, where is he pulling me from, what can I do to close the gap, and where am I faster, and that's all that it'll take. There's still 40 minutes left in this race, so there's a long time, and if you can just learn that. And that's a very hard thing to do on the fly, but we'll see if he can close it in. Norm, and we go back to the battle for 4th with Norm and Brian. This battle's been going on. These guys have been so close for the past couple of laps. Still good to see that they're so close. Norm is slowly starting to close in on him. They get so close through here. He goes wide, cuts back in, goes to get the power off of the corner. Norm gets a very good drive off the corner. As we go down the straight, he's trying to get the slipstream, but that NSX is just a little bit quicker in a straight line. Brian probably has a little less downforce in it just to try and get down the straights better. And you honestly can see that because Brian can get him on the straights to Norm has a little bit more downforce. So through the corners, he's able to pull up a little closer. As we go through this section of the track, still a very close battle. As we cut back to it now, Norm with a good drive off the corner. This is the closest Norm has been to Brian all race through this section. If he can get down and get a good drive off of this corner, through the final corner, through the front stretch, he's still very close, trying to get the slipstream, but that NSX is just a little too fast for him. As we cut through this next section of the track, Norm is very good through here. He's got good line. This is always where he seems to be closing up. Look how tight he takes that and can set himself up a little bit better. Trying to get into the slipstream, but just missing it ever so slightly. Under brakes too, the Supra does seem to be better under braking. Oh, and he gets a good run off the corner. Going down the backstretch right now, he is right up to Brian. As we come into the next section, they are battling it out. Norm doesn't go for the dive bomb on the inside. Smart move, don't want to be that guy. As we come into the next section, he goes to cut underneath him, but Brian still has the inside. Norm's going to try and cut back underneath him, and they're so close right now. Absolutely going for it. Yeah, see, the section of few corners, Norm can string together very well, but when it comes to the back part of the track, Brian and the NSX just seem to have it figured out a little bit better. Like through this corner, Brian seems to be able to get the drive, but Norm is still close. This is even closer than the last lap. But Brian pulls away just ever so slightly, and Norm is slowly trying to close him in. They come off the corner, he goes to get the drive, and yeah, Brian pulls away just ever so slightly. As we come in through the first corner, we've seen this before on the laps prior. This is the section where Norm is best at. Oh, got a little lockup from Paul. Running solid and steady. Good to see him rebound a little bit after his contact earlier with another car. Oh, and he actually makes a pass on Gino. Those are two guys who both had problems earlier, but now are battling it out in the back portion of the field. Philippe Henrique and Matthew Overton are going at it. JT is actually past both of them and now is up in good position. Let's see if Matthew can come back and try and mount a charge and get past Philippe. Oh, we have a car off track to the right. I cannot see who that is. Maybe it was a back marker. Looks to be. Oh, Matthew with a big slide coming off the corner. That's not going to help him at all coming through the final section. Oh, and we have our first pit of the race. Vinicius coming into the pits. Don't know if he'll be taking tires or not. But as we cut back to the lead. Oh, where's Norm? Oh, Norm was able to make the pass on Brian. I'm sorry, guys, we missed that. James going off track, trying to let some cars around. Thank you. Norm was able to get past Brian, and now Diego is coming back. I don't know if there was contact at all because it looks like Brian Hall has fallen back just a little bit, but Rodriguez is slowly trying to close in on him. That's what it takes, guys. I know I say slowly a lot, but it just, you gotta figure out your times. It takes a couple laps to try and set up a pass. Right behind Diego, it looks like we actually have JT. So this is getting interesting. JT charging back through the field, getting all the way back up to what looks to be 7th place behind Rodriguez and Hall. He is definitely mounting a charge right now. Wow, JT Tommy's last lap was a 1:28.8. Almost a second faster than the guys in front of him, so he is definitely closing up the gap right now. As we cut back to the lead now, Johnny Gutierrez is still on Dan Kirby. Oh, and we have a spin. As soon as that happens, Matthew Overton out and off and into the gravel. Still running in 9th place right now. Oh, and Diego tries to go to the inside of Brian Hall, but he's not there, and that's going to allow JT to come back up and close the gap with them. We have a 3-way battle now for 6th place. This is awesome. Those Z's are Nissan Fairlady Z's are just so good. And Diego goes to the inside. It's looking like he's going to make the pass. Can JT do it as well? Brian is going to guard the inside and try to not let JT come by him. He pushes him wide, but JT cuts back underneath him and is going to make the pass going into the final 2 corners. Wow, that was a great move. Now let's see if JT can reel in Rodriguez and try and get up in another spot. I think JT will definitely win the Hard Charger award for tonight. Oh, and now we have Brian Hall in the pits trying to get the undercut. Will that be a good choice? We don't know yet. Gets him out of fighting with everybody. It won't lose time. We'll be on fresh tires. We have about 32 minutes left in this race. So just before halfway. Now we see JT and Rodriguez fighting. JT's going to try and get him down the straight, and it looks like he will. Diego isn't going to try and fight it. So now we're getting into pit cycles. Let's see when everyone will decide to make their pit stop. It's been very close all race. And I think through this next pit cycle we'll determine a lot of everyone's position. There still will be some good battles, but it all depends on where do you want to be on track? What track position do you want to have? Now JT comes into the pits, look to be Diego following. We have a lot of cars coming into the pits now. Oh, and Gill's off the track again. And having a tough race, but is still out there trying to put it together. Looks like he may actually have some damage. As we cut back to the lead now, Johnny Gutierrez still hasn't dropped Dan Kirby, and as soon as we go to see it, cuts away. Jerry Chen with Flying Kiwi in P12, and look at how close this back part of the field is. These guys are all fighting, and any one of them could be in the top position. They are so close back here. All Supras though. Looks to be a real big Supra train. Johnny Gutierrez still in P2 behind Dan Kirby. These guys are running almost the same lap times. Last lap, Johnny was actually faster with a 120.3 and Dan with a 120.4. So ever so closing in that gap. Oh, we have a car off track to the right. I don't see or can see who that is. We're just under 30 minutes left in the race. So everyone should be looking to make their pit stops here soon. Dan Kirby with a 120.8, 120.6, fastest lap of the race. Actually, I stand wrong. His best lap is a 119.7, but faster that lap. Johnny with a 120.8, but these guys are so close and together on this. No, they're not giving up an inch. Either one of them can win. Dan seems to be able to have that slight advantage right now, but after we get new tires on the car and we see what can happen, Johnny may be able to mount a charge and fight for the win. Just checking out some back markers right now. Oh, and Dan Kirby is in the pits, and Johnny Gutierrez are in the pits as we speak. They come in 1-2. Oh, it'll be a race out of the pit lane now. We'll have to see how this plays out. I'm guessing they will both take tires and fuel. Oh, and Norm has a spin into the pits. Oh no. Having such a good race so far. Oh, and there's another car coming in. Oh, and another car coming in. That could have been a lot worse. Luckily, they all seem to make it out okay. Dan Kirby was faster on that pit cycle now, as he is still in P1 with about a 2-second lead over Johnny Gutierrez. So let's see if Johnny can pull in the gap. I don't know if he'll be able to reel in that gap. Now that Kirby has fresh tires, he's definitely going to try and put on something and lay down some fast laps. So we cut back to 11th place, Colin Blackman racing in the Supra. These cars just sound awesome. Got a good fight in the midfield here. "25 minutes left in the race. Oh, Colin Blackman makes the pass on John Ewan to get into third. Or to get into fourth. Barry DeMarzo into P3. John's going to try and come back on Barry coming into this section as they go back up the hill and onto the backstretch. It is getting so close. John's trying to get the drive off the corner. He seems to get it a little bit. Good drive down the straight, trying to get the slipstream, but it's just not good enough. As we come into the tight midfield part. John's getting close. He's going to look left and then try and look right, but doesn't seem to have anything. Big slide into the corner, trying to get the drive out. Mark something lap. Just hanging in there, trying to put something together. It's been a rough race for him, but we cut back to this battle. John trying to get in on Colin Blackman. As we go through down in the final 2 corners, this really fast 90-degree corner onto the backstretch, John's going to look to try and get the drive. He seems to get a good drive off the corner. Going to try and get the slipstream on Colin. They're so evenly matched here. John looks to the inside. He doesn't try to give him the dive bomb move. He's going to try and give it one more lap. As they close up in this section, and they're even closing up on DeMarzo. He's going to look to the inside here, but there's not enough room on the track. As they come into the next section, he's going to look for the inside, going to try and go for the dive bomb move, try and outbrake him. It looks like he's going to try and get it to stick. Very, very close racing right now. This onboard shot is awesome. But Blackman just gets the drive off the corner and gets back around him. John's going to look for the inside again on this section. He's going to go for the dive bomb move, try and block him out. He does. He's able to make the pass stick, but let's see if it will stick over this next couple of corners. Blackman can't make a move there. His only shot is just to stay close and try and get him down the straight. John comes off the corner, gets a very good drive off the corner. Blackman is still trying to hold on, and now John's going to try and go and hunt down DeMarzo. Blackman has started to fall off away from Uwan. Now John is trying to reel in that gap. John has been looking for a move in a space to try and make a pass, but it just hasn't been able to find the opening yet. He tries to cut that corner a little bit to get some drive. He's slowly trying to close up. He's good on the brakes under here. Oh, big slide off the final corner. It didn't seem to hurt him at all. He seems to still get a good drive off the corner. Doesn't close it enough, but he has closed the gap just a little bit coming into the front section. Oh, he is right on there, less than a tenth away from each other. Less than half a car length. He's right on his bumper, looking for a move. He's going to duck to the inside right here and try and make a pass and see if he can make it stick. Locks the brakes up just a little bit. Let's see how good of a drive Barry can get off the corner, but John seemed to have made the pass. And now Blackman is going to come back in and see if he can make up the pass on Barry. Wow, this is a good fight. He dives to the inside, trying to make the pass. He seems to have it stick, but Barry is fighting him around the outside, won't let him fully through. Sets himself up good for the next corner. This is a great battle going on here. With 20 minutes left in the race, this is all coming down very closely. As I check back in with our leaders here, it looks as if Dan Kirby is partially pulled away from Johnny. He has about 3 seconds on him right now. Now Johnny's going to start to pull away and get back up into P3. just on that pit cycle where he lost some time, but he's backward now where he wants to be. Going to try and taste down Kirby and Gutierrez, but I don't think there is enough time left in the race to try and mount a charge from them. So now it's just going to try and be to manage and maintain and stay in his position and still get good points for the end of the race. Check back in on Matthew Overton. He had a little spin earlier, but it's still running strong inside the top 10. He's just now getting lapped by Johnny Gutierrez. The lapped car goes by. And Kirby still out front. Now is over a 6-second lead over Johnny Gutierrez. We're now watching Paul Ibbotson. Oh, a little spin in the grass. Seems to be okay though, didn't make contact with the wall. Doesn't seem to get any damage from it. Maybe just flat spotted the tires a little bit. Oh, and we have contact with Matthew Overton, and I did not see who the other car was. Down in the back section. Looks to have been a little bit of damage. Matthew wheel looks to maybe a little bit crooked. He's trying to get back on the track now. But I don't know if that car will get rolling again.
So I think he's probably trying to let whoever that was they make contact with by.
Yeah.
Why was that? Might have been. Oh, it's not Blackman. Looked like it was somebody who's a lap down.
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah.
They're just sitting there, so yeah, Overton's trying to let him by, but they're both just sitting there.
Yeah, I don't know what Matthew should do right here. See, in real life, this would call for a safety car, but we don't get those in rFactor 2.
I think I think whoever that was actually just exited out. So Matthew is getting rolling again.
There we go. We've had some good battles tonight so far.
Yeah, it's been very close races. It's interesting to see how the cars are set up, just a little bit different. Some are much better going down the long straights, and others are meant way to attack the corners. And obviously, it's creating some very interesting battles up and down the field. So we're watching.
Yeah, that's something. Sorry to interrupt you. That is something that has kind of been interesting to see, because most cars kind of, as a base setup, from testing all of them, been completely different. The Nissan, the Z, doesn't have the best top speed, but is really nimble, and it's cool to see how some of the drivers have set that car up to be good in a straight line and still be just as nimble. So it's weird to see it pull away from a Supra.
Yeah, narrow is definitely important here. It's such a give and take on the track just because there are enough high-speed corners. It's a small, short, winding track. And any way that you can set the car up to attack through there and just give yourself a little advantage as we watch Philippe try and close up here on, it looks like, is he closing in on JT Tammy? Yeah, that's his Nissan.
Yes, they've been having a close battle all throughout the race. They're actually closing in right now on Brian Hall as well. JT has come back through the field a long ways, definitely in running for the hard charger for tonight.
That's impressive. Yeah, all these guys right nose to tail. And then you've got Barry DiMarzo just a little bit in the background, but he's been showing some really good strong pace, especially as an M driver. He might be looking at getting improved into the pro category at some point next season or this season.
Yes, the relegation.
It's real.
Yes, it is. It is. So, but it's good for some guys, you know, getting up into the pro class and running with some top guys and kind of finding that next level of speed can be difficult, but it's very rewarding as a racer.
Yeah, for sure. And Barry has definitely shown that he's willing to put in the practice and maintain that pace and really get up there. And Gino Bardelli here, he's another driver who's been able to show some really good pace. Some of the consistency hasn't quite been there, but we're only 2 races in, so it's going to be interesting to see how his kind of career unfolds here as he's new to the NARS races. Back over to the battle up here for 4th, 5th, and 6th. I feel like I'm looking at his car number, man. He is just staying right on the back of him.
Yes, it looks like JT has passed Brian Hall, and now Philippe is trying to do the same. It seems like since the pit stop, Brian just hasn't had the car set up for the end of the race. I don't know if he took tires or not, but just doesn't seem to have the same amount of pace as what he did in the first stint. Was able to run up front very strong, but seems to be slowly losing pace as the race goes on.
If I had to guess, I'd say he should have taken tires. Whether or not he took the right ones, of course, is... Brian is not always known for making quite the right decisions on pit strategy when coming through the field, but he might just be a little bit off pace after taking on a bit more fuel. He obviously put enough in there, 100 liters, getting him to about 3/4 mark, and now he's starting to fall back here into the clutches of Philippe.
Yeah, Philippe has been really strong this whole race and has tried to... Oh, but we have a spin right here with Barry DiMarzo.
Commentator's curse, you know, you talk about it.
Yeah,
there he goes.
So, looks like he has Blackman behind him. This has been a good battle coming through here. It looks like the leaders have just come through. As they come down the front stretch, Blackman looks for a move on the inside, but we don't get to see it as we have a car off track right here. Oh, and big contact with Jerry Chen. Big contact. Now we cut back for the battle up here with Philippe. Looks like Dan Kirby behind, coming through to lap this pack of cars. JT slowly starting to pull away. JT has the car set up very stable, I've seen. He hasn't stepped it out too much. He's been very smooth as we see Philippe let Dan Kirby by.
Crushing it. Johnny Gutierrez isn't too far off from him. Certainly if anything happens to Daniel, especially as he's trying to cut his way through traffic, that could open up an opportunity, but that's big enough a gap he doesn't have too much to worry about. So we move up here to Norm Graff, who's right up on the backside of Rodriguez.
Yes, these guys have been going back and forth all the race. Norm Bryan and Rodriguez had a battle going on for a long time at the beginning of the race. So Brian has since pulled away a little bit, and Norm and Diego had, I believe, a little bit of contact or lost a little bit of time. But they are still battling it out right now for 8th to 9th place.
As he pulls out to look at the inside.
Yep, that is Johnny trying to come through and make up some time. I will say Johnny has impressed me a lot as a driver who coming through, and with how he was able to run with Kirby in the first stint is very impressive. As you know, that's a difficult thing to do, and Johnny has really come on strong with this series and this year with everything. So it's good to see him find some more pace and try and give it to the man up front.
Yeah, it's been great watching him, especially in the TA2s. He's obviously shown he can definitely mix it up, which is hilarious to think early on in the beginning. He was making comments of, well, you know, I just want to stay out of everyone's way and not ruin anyone's race. And he's up there just clamoring to the backside of Kirby's car.
Yes, Johnny is a sleeper. I will say that him and I have had some good battles. We had a good battle at the last round of the 23 series at Portimao. Him and I had a good battle in the last lap, and I still apologize. I'm sorry, Johnny. We had some contact, but he's very good, and normally he comes on strong at the end of the race. That's where he always would catch me. If I had a little bit of a gap at the end of the race, he would just be really good on worn tires. Seems to be struggling a little bit today, but I think that's just been with some traffic. he seems to have caught some traffic at some bad times compared to Kirby, so he's lost a little bit of time, but has still been having a very strong drive today.
Yeah, for sure. Now Norm is trying to put a pass here, and I'm watching him coming out of the corners. It looks like he's very strong going through, and about the midpoint, he just kind of, it's almost like he has the pace, and then he comes out of the corners and just drifts back slightly. It's almost like he's got his aero set up way too high, where he's not able to quite affect any kind of grasp onto the longer stretches. Let's see how he does here going into the second sector.
Yes, Norm has been good. He's definitely running a more arrowed out trim, a higher trim to get some more downforce. But one thing I have noticed with him is that he's trying to run a tighter line through some of the sections, whereas Diego is opening up the track a little bit. And it's helping Diego with getting better drive off the corner onto the straights. Whereas Norm tries to cut in and try and close the gap a little bit. He gets closer, but then towards the end of the straight, Diego can pull away. And, oh, Diego goes into the grass and goes a little wide. That'll allow Norm and Blackman through.
Yeah, pushing just a little bit too hard. You could tell that he was right on the cusp of, even coming off the corners there. His brake bias obviously set just a little bit to the tail happy side till he can turn the corners, but it's going to cost him. It's actually cost him 2 positions now as he's falling. Where's he falling back to? I'm not sure if the timing screen's catching up there.
I will say the timing screen has been off most of the race. The exact time and everything, and positions hasn't updated live the whole race. Open Diego goes off the track again behind them. We just missed that at the bottom of the camera. Loses a little bit more time.
They're on board now with Blackman as he's following up behind Graf here, looking to effect a move, and he's deep into the braking zone as he follows up right behind him.
Yes, trying to close the gap is very tricky, and it's good to see because Blackman and Graf have had completely different setup cars, and you can see where one is better and one's not, but they're still so equally paced throughout this race, and it's been a great thing to see with this whole midfield of the drivers is that everyone in the midfield is so close and so together, and they're all set up completely different, but all can run very, very similar lap times.
On Blackman, another AM driver who's able to clear up here with some of the pros. It's going to be quite a bit. Now, this is obviously a much shorter track. It's very different layout from the last one, not Leicester, but Singapore, where it was very point and shoot. Here, it's much more flowing, as is characteristic of a lot of the Japanese tracks. Very nice curvaceous corners as they flow around the different parts of the countryside. And getting set up for that, you really got to have it turn in. It's you can't hold on to it.
Yes, having a car that has good turn in, but then can still be stable mid and through corner exit is very critical here. And that's just with all Japanese tracks, with Suzuka and Fuji and Sugo. They're all so. They flow with the mountainside, and that's what makes them so iconic and so great, is just how they can flow with the countryside, and they're all unique in their own way. So setting up the car is critical across all the tracks that we'll be running this season.
Brian Hall now closing down on JT Pam just a little bit. He's got Paul in front of him. You can see JT up ahead. JT obviously he's I don't know, I want to say struggling, but I think he's finding some of the limits of that Nissan. He's trying to put it just through his paces. He is up in 4th, which is pretty astounding since the Nissan seems to suffer in a few of their points here compared to some of the other cars, but he's managed to hold on to it pretty good.
Yeah, the Nissan is just very nimble with doing some testing and everything. It has its weak points, but it's actually a very good car for some of these tracks. It may be a little down on power, but it's very good through the kind of flowing corners like this track. I almost feel like this track suits the Nissan very well. It's good for him to find a good flow through everything, then he can still get really good drive off the corner.
Gutierrez cut his way through. He's fallen back to about 10 seconds now from Kirby, so I think some of that, you see Kirby around on the other side of the hairpin. I think that it's starting to kind of slip away, so at this point he just needs to kind of settle in and stay consistent through traffic, and I guess hope for some sort of mistake from the leader, but I don't know if he's going to get that.
Yeah, no, Kirby is pretty locked in, and when you give him space like that, he's hard to catch and try and force into a mistake. So, but Johnny has ran a very good race, been very strong all throughout both stints, and he should be really happy with the drive that he's put on today. This looks like Paul is going to dive into the pits for some damage.
I don't know. Looks like he may have just gotten out of the way.
Oh, yep, he did. He's still back there.
Philippe Henrique still trying to close down on Brian Hall, who we're on right now. He's got a very interesting Dude Abides livery, the Big Lebowski there, obviously. He's always picked up some artful, tasteful types of paint jobs for his car, painted by his friend over at HHRL.
Yes, Brian always makes us smile and laugh whenever he brings out a car. It's always something crazy and unique and very funny.
Yeah, Brent Owen, the league organizer over there, does a good job on these. And Brian Hall, obviously, and his brother Lonnie have been longtime members on that side. They got a good relationship, and it's nice to see some of these more artful, comical cars, I guess you could call them, in the case of Brian's especially. But
yes.
Does a good job, and obviously shows well because he's got it up towards the front now in the top 5. And Philippe is falling back. No, he's closing back up here. He's still maintaining. Actually, yeah, I think he's about around a second plus. As he closes up here, he's at front. Cisco NSX.
I believe that is a lapper, and that is Vinicius. Yep, yeah, he pulls over to the side to let them by.
So the lappers obviously not obligated to move over, but facilitating the pass whenever they can to make sure that they're not holding anybody up. It's always appreciated whenever it can work. And making use of the large front stretch, obviously, to affect those passes. Sector 3, someone's around.
Been a good race so far, and we are getting close to the end. I'm looking on the live timing sheet. We have about 2 minutes left in the session.
Looks like Diego Rodriguez is now coming in. Very late stop for him.
Yeah, probably just a splash and dash. Maybe I believe Diego came in a little bit early just to try and get an undercut, and maybe didn't take enough fuel for that. So just a little splash and dash. This may hurt him in the finishing of the race, but sometimes you got to take it.
And that's exactly what he was in for. It didn't look like he was suffering any damage or anything, but yeah, that's going to put him well off from Philippe Henrique, and I believe time is not going to update here, but we have more wrap up behind him. Perhaps not. Let's see.
Yes, that looks like it put Philippe, Colin Blackman, and Barry DiMarzo all in front of Diego, and Diego looks to now be with our timing screen not updating. Looks to be about in the 10th place.
Right, there we go. So that should be a little bit more. So yeah, Philippe.
Yep.
Quite a ways
now our
away.
screen's updated.
So back up at this battle here with Philippe Henrique, and got Barry DiMarzo as well in the back.
Yep.
And there's where some of the caution was before.
Yep, we have a car spun in T1. Who is that off track? Oh, Mark Sundenlap. He is. I'll give it to Mark. He's had a rough race, but is still trying to hold it together and stay in it. But he's had a couple spins and hit the wall a couple times, so I give him props for just trying to stay in it.
Yeah, he's just trying to find a gap where he can tuck in. Unfortunately, the crowd is spread out enough. That's a very difficult spot. Really, not a whole lot of room to do much of anything. He's just watching them all flip on by. Good on him. He's able to find a nice spot to get in there and finally rejoin. Place. And speaking of some of the guys in the back, looks like Tony Boynton is trying to make something of Bowders just up ahead of him. He was locked onto the back bumper. You can see Bowders there in the white and yellow. I believe that's Supra. Couldn't quite catch it before it came in. it is.
Yes, there's a Supra in front of him.
Closing him down just as, yeah, that's close up. I would say he's probably right up, almost on a 1 second gap. Let's see if we can effect a good exit on the final corner. Aptly named last turn.
Yeah, the last corner is a tricky one because it's downhill, it's a fast 90, and you don't want to overdo it, but underdo it and lose drive throughout the straight.
Looks like this will be the final lap as we come in about 20 seconds left, and you do see Daniel Kirby just up ahead. Interestingly enough, Gutierrez was able to close up. He's around 5 seconds, so I'm not sure. I think Daniel actually got caught up with this group. And that
Daniel. Yeah, the lappers played a big part into this race, and we said that in the beginning, was that with how this circuit is kind of a shorter track, and with us having almost 24 cars on track, the lappers and coming around was definitely going to be tough in trying to navigate through the traffic when everybody spreads out.
That might be the death knell here for Tony Boynton's chances at catching up as he tries to move out of the way for some of the top guys there, as JT Tammy is right up near where Gutierrez was, and it's showing him still on the, well, sorry, no, I guess that's the gap up ahead to John Uyan, who's well part of this group, and actually very close to being lapped now.
As we come around on the final corner, looks to be, oh, will we get one more lap? That be checkered?
I believe that's it. So yeah,
checkered flag for Dan Kirby, as expected for Dan's nature. He's gotten a lot of wins in the CMS community across all series, so good for him. Good drive. It was really steady throughout the race and had a lot of pressure from Johnny behind, so was able to not crack too much and still come out with the win. And I'm very impressed with Johnny Gutierrez for being able to run with Kirby for the majority of the race and be able to run right on pace with him within a few tenths at each lap.
Yeah, he definitely did his job in not letting Daniel get comfortable at any part of that as he heads back in there. Looks like all the drivers are back across the line at this point. Just graph running across back in the background. So yeah, congrats to Daniel Kirby, Gutierrez, and John Uyan, who we didn't really see too much of here in the last part of the race, but he was just kind of floating around in third place, not really molested by any of the attacks from JT. Managed to pass on Brian Hall and Norm Graff behind him with Blackman, Enrique, and Barry DiMarzo really putting pressure on each other coming up to the last part of the race.
Yes, no, that was a great race for this series. I think we all can very much enjoy the cars that we have here that we're running. These GT500 cars, man, they're something special. They have a lot of power and are really crazy, but they're super fun to watch, and it's always cool to mix things up.
And we'll have a lot more action coming up in some of the races through the season. It'll be interesting to see how the cars manage to handle some of the other tracks. Obviously, like we were saying before, with the Japanese track nature, it's very conducive to some cars over the others. Some of the tracks are going to be quite a bit longer. This is certainly a shorter one in the scheme of some of the tracks that we will be seeing. So all that's going to come into play as we move on throughout the series.
Yes, no, it'll be great to see how everything squares up and to see what cars are better on other tracks, as we get to Suzuka. I'm very interested to see on what cars and which drivers will be able to set their car up best for it. And as the season goes on, just see how everything all plays out across the 3 different manufacturers we have.
So there will be a bit of a gap as we head to as NARS goes off to the VMSC round at Sebring next week. So there will be a little bit of a break as the GT500s head down to Fuji for March 16th. And we'll see them all there. Hopefully we'll have a few more of the anchors that we see here, like George Angelidis and some of the other drivers who've been looking to come out, Jamie Zalecki, and really fill out the grid and make things interesting, especially in the mid and top parts of the pack.
Yes, that'd be very good to see some more drivers who can run up front and try and run with Daniel's pace and see if we can't mix things up with everybody. So that'd be really cool.
All right, Alec. Well, hey, thank you for running the booth here. It's been great to have you, and we look forward to a few more guest appearances throughout the CMS season across all kinds of different races. If you will lend us your talent.
Yes, no, I plan to. I definitely will be in booth for this Saturday for our 98 VWSC series. Be sure to everyone watching to come check that out, and hopefully I won't be in the booth too much longer, and can finally get back in the sim and get back behind the wheel and get back out there and start battling with everybody.
Yeah, you said it. Best of luck and good health to you, man, as you go through your recovery.
Thank you, much appreciated.
All right, well, that's it for tonight, and we hope you guys enjoyed the broadcast, and we'll see you next week.